Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Empyrion Galactic Survival episode 52. I'm Enigmius and today we're back on Masperon. Finally, we got all of the processing done that we needed to on Omicron. We gathered up everything we needed, put it on our capital vessel, and made our way here. We've started working on the fortress that we're going to be using as our base of operations here on the planet, and we're going to basically spend the episode taking a look at that. It's over here. Conveniently located right beside our parked capital vessel. It's quite large, as you can see so far, and it's going to be much larger before we're done. I kind of wanted to give you guys an overview starting from the bottom up, and we'll do it in stages as we progress with the build, otherwise it's a bit too much to do all at once. So the first thing I want to show you is actually not any of this stuff up here, but we're going to start down here, bouncing down the tunnel. This is the base of our base, and it goes all the way up and protrudes to the surface, and then we've got some stuff in there. We've got our fuel tanks and 2 tier 2 generators, which is overkill. It's overkill for a base, but just for the symmetry alone, I decided to put them in. And it's all built on top of what's left of a very large promethium deposit, so we basically mined it all out down to this point here. And this became the place where we started our base. It was a very large promethium deposit, almost 8,500 ore, according to the little tag here you can see, and we've got 18% of that left down here. Now, we could gather it, but I kind of like the aesthetic a little bit more than I need this little extra bit of promethium. There's lots of promethium nodes on this planet. If we need more fuel, we can get it. We don't have to take it from here. But I just thought it would be kind of neat to do something with one of these openings that we've left behind after gathering, and just the color and the texture of the promethium and the thing sitting on top of it appealed to me. So that's the beginnings of the base. It's all combat steel down here on the outside. I'm building mostly out of concrete, but there will be places that will be covering the concrete with combat steel, or, as is the case here, using combat steel entirely. The irony is that we don't need combat steel on this thing down here, because it's never going to be attacked. It's never going to have anything shooting at it. Maybe if a person was on a PvP server and they were worried about someone breaching their base from underneath, they knew about the secret trick, and that was the reason they wanted to use the combat steel, I could understand that, but in our case, it's single player, PvE, it's not really a concern. So that's the base of the base. And we're going to run back out here, and we'll take a look at, I guess we'll start with the interior so that you can get an idea of the scale of what we're working with here. Oh, we made it. Barely, but we made it. Now it's a little bit tricky right now to actually get up onto this platform. It's never guaranteed. We can get close sometimes, and sometimes we just sort of bounce right off it. There we go. You can see the irony. We'll talk about this a little bit later. We'll get this taken care of first. This is the interior of the hangar, which, as you can see, is basically like a big plus-shaped structure with large hangar doors at the end. And the whole idea here is that there's one hangar door that's 1 block wider. We could have made this 1 block wider, and that would be the maximum that we would be allowed to do with the hangar doors that are provided with the game. I chose the one that was the 1 block smaller than the maximum, just because of symmetry and the way it lined up with the structure. I'd already built it. But the idea here is we're kind of limited in the size of our ships based on the size of the hangar doors anyway. Why not kind of roll with that, use the hangar doors as a limiter, so that we can always be aware of the largest that we can make certain dimensions on the ship. But then once it's built, we can pass through from one hangar door to the next. We can come in this door, we can leave through that door, we can have ships stored over here, and a ship stored over here, and a big gigantic ship stored over here. There's lots of things that we can do with a hangar this size. I could have made it, I could have got rid of these walls here, and just had it the big circular thing that it's turning into on the outside, but then again we run into that situation. What if we build a ship that's too wide and we can't get it out of the hangar doors because we didn't have these limiters indicating to us that we were going a little bit too far? So you get some really large hover vessels in here, and that's really all this lower level is for hover vessels experimental designs, things that we want to try out, and then there's going to be a level on top of this that's going to be for small vessels. Same thing, very large hangars, so that we can build very large small vessels. And then on top of that is going to be the main processing and operations sort of area, and possibly a capital vessel landing pad on top as well, because right now the capital vessel, it's not even touching the ground because there's so many trees and things in its way. It's just kind of sitting above everything. Maybe not the best, but we'll think about it. We'll see how it goes. We have to keep in mind the structural integrity of everything that we add, and if we want to do sort of like this inverted triangle as the overall shape of the base, we're going to potentially run into issues with things falling off. We don't want that. So this is taking us down into the base. We wanted C, not B. Here we go. Just to give you an idea. The windows are regular windows. At some point I'll probably upgrade them to armor glass, but it's the same thing with the combat steel. It's not necessary. It's if someone's going to get in through a plain window, they're going to get in through a combat, armored window. We've got the fuel tanks. Relatively accessible compared to the capital vessel, where you can just run along the whole thing and access to fuel tanks. Here you're basically riding up and down the elevator and you can access them that way, so they could be a tiny bit more accessible, but it's not that big of a deal. And then you've got the two generators again just for the symmetry. This one here probably would have lasted us for everything that we need in this base, and then this one here is just to make it look a little bit more balanced. And we textured inside. We've got the floor is textured, the ceiling is textured. So this area down here is basically done. We don't have anything else that we need to do with it. We can just leave it alone. And now, oh, here we go with the thunder. It's not even nighttime yet, and the thunder is starting. So for this, we can hop into the drone and sort of take a look at what we've got. This is how the exterior sort of started. Once I got this, the largest portion, the great big plus shaped structure done, I wanted to do something with that area in between. Not necessarily structural. I'm not interested necessarily in making bigger rooms or big rooms on the ground level so that we can put stuff in them. That's wasn't really a thing. It was mostly filling out the structure so that it looks a little bit bigger and more imposing. So that's what we did, and the first thing I did, as with anything of this size, as I just laid out the profile. I had to build out a bit of a framework so that we could lay out the profile without having it collapse because of structural integrity issues. But once we started getting everything in place, we could see if we were happy with the profile, if we needed to tweak it or whatever. It's so much easier to tweak it when you've just got a frame that you're working with. You can make all the adjustments you need, quick and easy. When you're happy with what you've got, then we can fill it in. Fill in the floor, and then as you'll see over here, gotta make sure I don't jump onto anything I don't want to jump onto. It is a hostile planet, but this monstrosity does an excellent job of keeping all of the critters away. I haven't been attacked by anything, but I have seen all of the guns light up and go ham on a cluster of between 5 and 6 drones that were sent to attack my base. And it was quite the sight because it was nighttime, so the muzzle flashes were lighting things up. It was fantastic. So this is kind of an example of what it looks like when it's done with this exterior structure sort of thing. There'll probably be some texturing going on. I'm not sure if I'm going to worry about changing the color. Color being subjective and all. So if we wanted to take advantage of all the space that we had available to us in this structure, this would be a pretty large space. There's no getting around that. Again, it's just that question of, do we really want to set things up on the ground floor, or do we want to set it up a little higher where it's theoretically safer, even though it's pretty much all the same. It's all the same deal. There aren't going to be any critters crawling up into the ground floor. There's no other players to worry about. It's just a thing. It's just this thing that we have in the back of our mind, how we want to lay it out. And in my case, we've got so much concrete, I chose to lay it out in a way that's tremendously wasteful of the space we have available. However, still kind of fun, and I still kind of like the way it's turning out. So, you can see we've got elevators, 2 elevator shafts peeking up into this, what'll be the second level here. And they're specifically off to the sides on the inside. You probably noticed them so that they're not in the way of the ships. We could have just done a singular elevator shaft that's still connected to the one that goes down into the lower level with the fuel tanks and the generators, and just run it straight up, but then it would have been smack dab in the middle of the hangar and preventing anything from passing through. So that's why we put them off to the sides. We've got 2 elevator shafts bringing us up into this next level. All I have left to do down here is finish off the walls all the way around, and then I'm going to put another layer of concrete all the way around the top just for the completion aspect. Get it all done, closed in, ready to go, and then the second level and the levels above should go fairly quickly. The really time-consuming parts are, I think, done. First of all, mining out Promethium so we could get that started, and then getting the base in was a lot of checking and making sure that we were sort of happy with the location and that it was lined up with the hole that we made when we started mining. And then doing the layout, of course, is a little bit time-consuming, counting blocks, making sure things are symmetrical where we want them symmetrical, and going from there. So now, by the next episode, I expect to have the small vessel hangar in place, possibly some of the operations area above that, and then once that's all done, if we're going to get a landing platform for a capital vessel on top of it, it's not going to take long to put into place. It's just going to be one of those things that we throw down as sort of a roof, put some lights on it, make sure we can get up to it with elevators, and that'll be that. So that's what I've been working on. Aside from letting everything process and gathering the hell out of everything on Omicron, it's been getting this guy started and literally off the ground. So if you want to be notified about future episodes, not only the completion of our base here, but also some of the crazy ships that are going to be coming out of it once we're up and running, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe to my channel. You can do that, or you can follow me on social media. Links for social media in the information section below the video. Feel free to leave your comments and feedback. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.